Welcome, ladies and gentlemen. There is no turning back now. I am incredibly proud and happy to present you the Predator 2 life-size bust from Coolprops. And while this particular piece was already featured on this channel in a review, this new review is going to be very special as I gave this piece of collectible a complete rehaul. Finally, I'm back to airbrushing and retouching again since the pandemic. During the pandemic time, I unfortunately lost my airbrushing facility, but now I'm back and there's gonna be more in the upcoming months. Predator 2, as you know, features my favorite predator creature of all time. And by doing this, I really fulfilled a childhood dream, and I could not be happier about the work itself and how the piece came out. This was incredibly challenging and a whole lot of work. There's a lot of places that were really hard to reach, like, for instance, the mouth area that is the focal point of the bust. So you really want to do a good job. There were some difficulties, but I didn't give up. I knew how I wanted it to look like and kept on going. I've been the proud owner of this piece for something like, I don't know, 2-ish years. And the truth is that I just couldn't look at it, the botchy factory paint job anymore. So something radical had to happen. Now, the research period itself was already difficult, as it's incredibly hard to find good photos of reference of this creature. As the film is so old, there was no digital photography involved during the archival of the production. Although photos are really grainy and hard to see the details, besides the values are different on each one of them. You can't really see the colors. Some of them are lighter, some of them are darker. Stan Winston's School of Character Arts is a great resource, but even they have limited archival photography available. One of the most surprising aspects I discovered, however, during my research period is that how inconsistently these masks that were used in the film were painted. That was very surprising to me. I'm not entirely sure that if it was because they were doing experimenting with the different skin patterns, but I managed to find several photographs of these masks that look different and the patterns do not match. The stunt masks that were worn by the stuntman and not by Kevin Peter Hall were not only in some cases painted differently, but also sculpted differently. They looked different. The puppet head, an animatronic puppet head, was also created for the film, and that also looked slightly different. That is perfectly possible that these differences were only the results of the different photographs and how light in those photographs were manipulated. However, that does not explain the sculptural differences, and therefore I suspect that these inconsistencies were in fact real. This, needless to say, was very surprising to me. As one can imagine, I learned a whole lot about the patterns and how these stand puppets and animatronic masks were painted by Stan Winston Studio. And once again, guys, I just want to stress that I spared no effort in order to fully replicate the movie paint job on this head. I took it incredibly seriously, as this is not only a giant passion of mine, but also it is a dream coming true. I treated painting this head like I painted the actual creature that will be featured in a film. I very much hope that fact comes through these images. Now, there are some things I really try to avoid while painting the bust, and I've seen people committing mistakes when they were painting theirs. One of those major mistakes I observed was the fact that they went too dark with the paint job. Make no mistake, it's very hard to find the balance, but I feel if one knows a little bit about color theory, then one will know how the colors will interact with each other, especially when you lay them upon each other. As I previously mentioned, it was very important for me to not to go too dark, because that would be not only unrealistic but also not loyal to the original paint job. Now, what I've done is in some places gave the bust a complete repaint. For example, the eyebrow area, which I think we're going to see here very soon popping up. Some pictures I inserted here as well. And these pictures that are coming up will be illustrating that there are two nasty, ugly black lines painted there by the factory, to the greatest dissatisfaction of many collectors. I didn't understand why they done it, and I know a lot of collectors had serious problems with this. I personally absolutely hated it, and I could not wait to finally rectify this mistake. Now, for my paint job, really, the basis I followed and the main reference I followed was the animatronic mask that was worn by Kevin Peter Hall. I felt that that is how we see the creature the most in the film, and also comparing all reference material, I am 100% certain that they followed the aesthetics of the animatronic head when Coolprops created this piece as well. And what makes me say that really is the ratio of the nose, for example, the animatronic mask had this like shorter nose, as you can see on the pictures here, barely visible. The mouth immediately like begins right after the brow area. Neither the stunt mask look like that, which is really weird. The stunt mask not only has a normal nose bridge, but also it's curved, so it's kind of comes out. I probably should insert a picture here of Fangoria magazine that actually includes that picture on the cover, where you can see that's a stunt mask worn by a stuntman. You can recognize the eyes are completely different, and the mandibles are in this weird-looking position. So that's it's pretty easy to recognize the stunt mask and distinguish distinguish it from the animatronic head. I will include an image here of the animatronic head as well. I have some of them also. As I told you guys, I have a giant folder of reference images, whatever I could get my hands on. And after I found the artistic direction I wanted to take this bust in, which was, as I already told you, the animatronic head I wanted to follow as reference, I did my utmost to dig up all those images, whatever I could find on the internet, and accomplish this paint job. So another thing that I found really important is that what I've seen people do with the dome is that they're not going dark enough. In fact, they leave the factory paint job, and in reality, the film mask, the dome was quite dark and different color from the rest of the mask, as you can see the pictures that are illustrating it here, right here. Richard Landon was with the puppet head there on that image, and there will be one more image coming up right here. This is the animatronic head. Was really hard to dig out. This was from a making of. Actually, I grabbed that photo. Now, what a lot of people I feel not really see and trying to repaint this bust is that the darker color that is around the center pattern that basically ties it together. It's you don't even see it really, but your mind recognizes it, that how beautifully that makes the center line pop, is actually blue. Now, it was very hard to mix that blue because it's hard to see that blue on the images and in the film as well, but it's blue nonetheless. But it's very subdued, desaturated blue with a lot of gray, very, very muddy, almost muddy, that dome is. And then, as you guys can see, I did these are images of the original factory paint job here. You can see the difference. There's just no life in it. It was incredibly flat. The mouth was incredibly lifeless. Here, the cheek, this really ugly patterns. I covered it all and redone the entire thing. Now, those frills on the side of the head, you can see I completely redone those frills. The pattern has been tightened up. I kind of created my own pattern because it's almost impossible to find reference images of those patterns. And I kept going back and forth with lighter and darker color to pop the contrast until I was satisfied with it. So I hope that comes through. Now, you guys, you can see it here because I'm hitting it with a headlamp I was using when I was brushing, so you guys can see the details. I slimed the entire head. Because he was slimy in the film. I left the areas surrounding the eyes completely matte, so those aren't shiny. Yeah, here's the mouth. You can see that I really went in. Yeah, there's a picture here me trying to struggle reaching those areas. Like I turned this bust around in all positions. Like really, yeah. It was not easy. And then the neck area was posing quite a bit of challenge as well, you know, like obviously the dreadlocks are not movable, so I had to reach behind the jaw, etc. It was very hard with the airbrush, but guys, I'm just really proud to finally be able to finish this piece, and I'm really happy that finally I own a piece that what I always wanted. And I'm not saying that this is how it should have looked like originally, because obviously that would have been a lot of money, but yeah, it would be great if this is how it came out of the factory. So going back to what I wanted to say, so I slimed the entire head. I applied several coats on the mouth, so that is more, slimy and there is more saliva in there. But I applied one single coat of high shine on the head because he was slimy in the film, and it's not just the mouth; it's the entire head. And I just wanted those colors really pop and, give him some light and life. Now here's more pictures of the original factory paint job. You guys can see that the eyebrow was just really awful. They practiced no attention. No attention to detail. It's really just like someone went over. Okay, guys, you know what? It wasn't bad, like bad, because as I told you in my previous review when the bust arrived, from the distance it wasn't looking bad, but when you're looking at it for a while, and especially when you're such a fan of the film, you want it to, yeah, there you go, another one. So you can really compare the difference. Now, the other thing is that, guys, I don't know how much the subtle difference is coming through these images and these videos. Here's some close up of the dome. You can see a lot of modeling here. I layered a lot of paint there. I tightened up the inner pattern. You know, I really wanted to give that depth in the skin, that kind of translucency, and make him look alive. And I'm very much hope that you guys appreciate that, and that comes through these. I need a better phone, that's for sure. I'm shooting this on an iPhone, a very old iPhone, and I don't know that the details are really coming through. I hope they do. Pardon me about the fresh wash laundry in the background, or whatever else compromising stuff in the artifacts in the background you can see. But the bust is just too big, so I didn't know where to shoot a proper video for you where you can really see the details, and you can appreciate all the work. I tightened a little bit up the chest area as well, not so much, just a little bit. The head was the one, and the face that needed the most work, and that's where it went. So there it is, ladies and gentlemen. I hope you enjoyed this little video about the repaint and this journey that led here. About this bust, now I don't think that this piece will ever leave my collection. I love this creature, and this was very important for me to do. A little boy's dream came true with this. It was like, for a little while I was working on the film myself, and God, if I knew this when I was a kid. Anyway, guys, as always, it was an incredible honor to have you here and listen to my ramblings, as always. Thank you so much for watching the video, and here's for some more. Thank you so very much, and see you all next time.